1:43 a.m. 107 on October 6th, 106, 2024, or so they say. And I'm just gonna put black screen on here. Uh, I've been sitting here for a moment this morning on this Sunday on the I am day, and even going back and forth with one of you, that one of her handles is I am. Kind of sorting out what I was seeing last night in my visions when I was because when I'm sleeping right now, and this has been going on since 2018, off and on, off and on, but over the past 3 to 4 months, I've been having more experiences while I'm asleep, because I know they're not even dreams at this point, aligned with collective energetic alignments in the wheel. Like, from my perspective now in 2024, whenever our orbs are moving, or we're realigning, or energetics are magnetizing and shifting inside all the collective orbs, and I see it, and I witness it. A lot of you do, as your unconscious, you're seeing those things form. Well, today is October 6th, and October, we haven't even gotten into we really haven't, as a collective, gotten into the depths of October. We have only skinned the surface. And when I say skinned, I use that word for a reason. Since 2019, since October of 2019, everything that has happened, the COVID, the quarantines, the government stuff, all the war, all of it. There's a reason that war started October 7th. Has all been about all of us reclaiming October. And we still haven't even scratched the surface of what all was being done and how October was being utilized. We, as even a high conscious, and because it was so embedded just in the way we did things, we can't even fathom those connections. Okay, I appreciate. Okay, why is AKA Satan, darling? Do we need to kick your ass again? I mean, you can be evil all you want. Just you can't use our energy to do it. And from where we come from as creators, we know that you were made. I think it's super interesting that you want to pop up right now. But see, that's my point. See what pulled in? This is all about October. Now, from what I'm seeing and understanding, in the way now, what I'm going to talk about now is not how it is supposed to be set up. I'm gonna talk about how this was manipulated to form it October, and it was templates. You've got temples, you've got pyramids, you've got a system that's running down here that most people forgot about, except for your high-end tech people who were really Nazis in another dimension. Let me say it again. The ones who 100% know what I'm talking about right now are only going to be the ones who manipulated it to make it. And I'm shaking now. Your temples, your pyramids, the altars, the paganism, which now we can go back and paganism. The reason that the pagans did all the bloodletting into the ground, took off body parts, did all that crazy stuff, okay, is because of the aga collider and hydrogen colliders that are happening right now. The pagan religion was giving the earth back blood, and they don't even realize that what they were hunting was DNA. Pagan religion and the Amber Alert in 2020s, same thing. Meaning that frequency goes out and in the minds of the people, that all they hear is they've got to take somebody out because some right. But what all that did was create blood connections and heartstring connections because of the intention that they were doing it under, not what they were doing. I just saw Marilyn Manson as another fucking example of this craziness. I mean, and this is even the ones that were all hopped up on spirit and da 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 da. These men, and they would do these horrible things to women, and then they would be told, God told me to do it. Okay, well, in that lower frequency, they somebody was telling him to do it, but it wasn't necessarily God, but it was an energetic, and it was leading him to it because there was some manipulation that had been done before, and basically whatever act they were about to do was somehow connecting to that. Now, this is why Queen Victoria, and I said Victoria, Queen Victoria, I meant Elizabeth, this last one, but I said Victoria. This is in the paganism and the druid stuff, and over time, the sacrifices and the blood aligned with intention is what produces the image that you see in your consciousness, or the message that you get from the tree, or whatever it is. Okay, well, it's like October as a month, because of how the wheel was manipulated and how it was all manipulated off Venus, and how everything, and it was hinged to this dark side of the M Sons and the Masons and da 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 da. October had become like Silence of the Lamb, like put the lotion in the basket. Everybody born in October, we're gonna sew you up and make a body that everyone down here can utilize. It's how it worked. The first 13 days of October were template settings. If you were born on October 1st, then you have a template setting with a large collective in an age bracket. And not even the age bracket. If you were born in October, their DNA and your DNA is in the whole collective attached to an age bracket that's attached to another age bracket from other timelines. This is even how we recreated the Divine Mother. This is even how we put the pieces back together, because all of us in October were one big soup, pulling away from one another, having to rebuild the parts that somebody else was holding and put it all back together to create a fabric of DNA reality that works with the cosmos, not in a weird fucking template vector. Now, when I talk about the industry and I talk about these stories and collective stories and how we walk these collective stories and how, and when we talk about all this mess that just went down here, down on earth, this timeline of soul theft and soul scalpers and da 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 and pirates and gypsies and yada 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 yada, all of that is involved with the manipulation of a template. And what that means is that the templates that your divine beings, and the story of a divine being that was to show up to help and do what we're doing over here, well, all of those stories were laid in a template, and that's what the industry was doing. They were stealing templates. They were stealing lives of millions of people in order to create a class of 24 celebrity bullshit. And it's getting it's getting pretty scrappy, right? Like, where are the true like beings that I mean, that's because now they don't have the templates. We embodied the templates. The thing and those templates have now changed, and the stories are no longer aligned to that archetype. So it's like, whatever, if it's 2024 and in this lifetime you've been a gypsy and you've been stealing parts to create a life, well, now none of them are going to match up and none of them are going to talk to each other. You no longer have single sign on. You no longer have single sign on. You're going to have to go and log into every single being in energy that you've stolen from. You're not going to be able to get through. Their path has completely changed. The story's completely rewritten, and you jumped on a train and you're just the caboose at this point. Hold the fuck on, because I don't know where the being that really holds this template's heading, but you're tied on to him. Now, for all of us that are the real ones, this is the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick. It's so funny to me living this whole chosen one deal in this timeline. There's two things I want to address right here. If you are a true prophetic being, you probably don't know. If you are a real chosen one, now I want everyone to also realize that we're starting a new cycle. So we have our chosen ones and we have our infrastructure for the last 7 years, and there's a whole nother subsets of chosen ones that are now gonna join the team. But it's not that anybody's taken anybody's place. They're at different energetic poles. So, but if you are one of them, you don't know. Like, you might be here for something special. You definitely know, like growing up in my life, I just knew. I had no idea why. And I told people, I just always knew I was here for something massive. But I didn't know. It was the beings and the handlers that were showing up around me, telling me that you're in the middle of a prophecy right now, and prophecy is about, like, you're fulfilling a prophecy. And I'd be like, what? Oh yeah, this is a Hollywood prophecy. You're fulfilling the Hollywood prophecy. Okay. Do you want to know what it is? No, I don't. I don't want to know the prophecy. 100% do not tell me. When you're a true prophetic chosen one, you find out about the prophecy once you've completed it. If you know about the prophecy, before you complete it, it'll fuck you up. All the ones that quote prophecy 24/7 and they know them inside and out, whether they realize it or not, they're a template to like bring in that set. And a lot of the times what I've found, not that it, just FYI, this is just one of those little underlying little things. It's nothing good or bad, so don't take this wrong. But if you know a lot about the prophecies, I mean, and about detailed ones within your family lines, then a lot of the times that means that you were hooked, you were in those family lines that were doing some of the manipulation, like gypsies, for instance. That's why they were handed down. That's why that stuff was handed down. That's how they did this. They had all these secret family things that then they'd get in a group and share their secrets and then weave a story together to produce an industry, whatever. So nothing good or bad, just recognize that. If you've been being told or you've had anybody, spiritual person that's ever prophesized over your life and nothing has happened yet, except that you had this horrible spiritual awakening and you went through dark night of the soul and you don't know where the hell you're supposed to be doing now, blah, 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 blah. It's all getting set right now for it to play out over the next few years. You're just getting a heads up from a small group who was able to do it all through pure air and frequency, no body. All of us that fulfilled these prophecies opened up the character for you to fulfill your prophecy. Because the reason that you haven't fulfilled your prophecy is because it was completely, everything was manipulated down to 0 point so that you wouldn't. So to the collective out there that's been sitting for like 7 years watching people, like me, for instance, seem like we were rising, seem like we were getting more wisdom, seem like, right? Because you're only seeing, very just pieces of my life over here. People forget about that. That's why it's so nuts. The technology and how we share things and how people think that they know each other and this and that from what's coming in. I'm only stating that because the ones of us who went through it from 0 point, we're not necessarily where we need to be at all. We need the chosen ones that are showing up in the bodies that they're supposed to show up in now to conform and step into their roles so that it lifts us up. Because until a group steps into their roles, it doesn't lift us up out of 0 point to hold a form for everybody. I hope that makes sense. Because those of us who walked it this past 7 years and did a lot of this prophetic stuff and a lot of prophecies that most people down here don't even know about yet, because it's more from a star's perspective or a galactic perspective or Anunnaki perspective, because I mean, this is the ending to every single one of those stories. Now, the other thing that I just want to throw in here really quick is I'm coming also to do with October is all about a birthing population. Just like the show where they wear the red and I don't even know their names, and they came in and they took over certain beings and they basically kidnap them and mind fuck them, and then they're the ones that have everybody's babies. Okay, well, that's been going on down here for a really long time. It was just hidden in medical, in lab. Our family line and the one that I speak of that was lost, for the longest time, held this birthing portal way out. The energy was being utilized to birth babies down here, but it was bridging two different kinds of babies. Whenever you go look at the story of Elle and you look at Superman and all that mess, you think that that's just clear creative, that somebody just made that shit up and that that didn't manifest? Oh, yeah, it did. Oh, yes. The crystal skull and getting a skull out in space and then plugging that skull into a machine and to electrical currents, and then you meet somebody and then you're don't even know if you like them, but you go to the facility to put your thumbprint down to see what your baby's going to look like. And then the magic egg breeding machine freaking in their weird little dome thing with all their goo and yana na 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 is then producing a baby. Well, what you did was just steal a life from Earth. What you did was just intertwine with somebody, a baby that was being born on Earth. Different dimension of time. I talk about this a lot because I talk about 6 billion people were stolen from the future. This is why people aren't having babies down here. There's no more souls. You can't replicate in Elle a baby that was never produced on land. If you do, then it's a time traveler. When it gets back onto Earth, then what's gonna I mean, then the time traveler's there in the codes, but the baby's not there. Miscarriage. What did we have in the 60s and 50s predominantly down here? Sudden infant death syndrome. Huh, really? Huh. Why would that baby just fucking die in its crib right after it's born? No life. Their storyline was already playing out here. It had been taken from the higher dimensions from above before it could even get down here and culminate. So then how is that baby going to be born in two places at one time? Then you have multiple personality disorder. Now people have brain no shit. October has everything to do with this problem and birthing, because our collective was utilized to birth their babies, whether we were a skull up in Elle or we were down here. The majority of us had Cinderella type lives. Everybody utilized us to do everything. Nobody gave us any credit. You all wanted us to date your men and you wanted us to train your men, and then as soon as we broke up with them throughout our lives, then they found one of your mimics and got married. You utilized this to have your children because you couldn't produce any more children down here. So you manipulated our lines to marry you, and then you steal our children, you take our money, you fuck with our timelines, you do everything because why? We're not with you? But you treat us like shit when you're with us. See, it's insane. It's why you don't know who we are. But you know some of the men that have been manipulating us. You know some of the men that have been writing on our story and pulling on our string. They're on your TV every night. It's quite, what this journey has taught me is a lot of things. Okay, a lot of things, don't get me wrong, but now that it's at the end of 7 years, we're seeing everything merge, we're seeing a new cycle start. What I'm realizing that I understand more than probably anybody else on this planet is birthing, and it is mind blowing how everything bursts in different dimensions. Not whenever you think of birthing, you can't just think of it from a woman inside a womb. You can't just think of it like that, because that's the birthing of a human. That's or a mammal, or inside a body. In like Lyra, If you're a true Lyran energetic blob, then you're made of a bunch of souls that were in a line that have been trapped in a matrix vector for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. You kept coming in and going out. That's why when you're in Lyra, if you have Lyran energy, you are programmed to do everything opposite than what anybody tells you. You are literally in the 3D, you do everything opposite. Because you naturally know that whenever you're in a 3D vector, you've got to, because everything's fucked up. You can pull from lines, you can sword fight, walking a tightrope, you can tap in to any energetic, any power, just like the Matrix, sticking Neo in the back of your head and downloading Kung Fu. You really can. Because that's how many of us are holding hands in those Lyran energies. But whenever you're a Lyran, you don't have a cervix, and you don't have a sperm that comes into your womb because someone sticks a stick in you. You're a giant amoeba. You're a giant plasma amoeba, and you might have a city or a universe growing off your butt on the right hip, or you would think where your butt would go. You really don't have a butt or a butt crack, but it's in that hip area of the circle, and there's a whole little forming blob coming off of it that's like a new civilization. You've got like these little things that are growing all over you. That's how you birth. It bursts off of you. It doesn't have to go inside you and push out. Right, many wombs. Well, and in Hawaii is a womb of another sort, but these are in wombs of like etheric bodies. Thing is, when it comes to these gypsy handler galactic MJ12 energies, because that is what we were up against. Everything made from the false versus everything made from the pure, does that necessarily make one real and one not? No. But it still means that they got to get along, or one's going to dominate. And this is the part that on the ground, this is why we're in human vessels now. It's why we are supposed to communicate through this. None of this is supposed to continue. This is the end of all this mess. This is the time that everybody down here is going to find out what's going on. And what is so fucking interesting about it is nobody wants to know. People get started on this spiritual journey and they think that it's just going to be all freaking a rowboat and unicorns and yes, in the very beginning, when you blow out of the matrix and you get that full blast of all the energy that you were cut off from, that's how it feels in the beginning. But then it becomes difficult, and you are tuned to a 3D reality that is no longer tuned to you, and you're not supposed to be in Texas. You're supposed to be in another country, and you're not supposed to be living with your parents. At this point in time, you should have 6 houses all over the world because of what you brought in 2012, not what was stolen from you in 2012. So you had to go live with your parents, and and beings, whenever stuff starts changing in your life, then and tower moments start happening, people jump ship, they give up. They're like, oh my God, no, all my friends are mad at me right now, I can't do this anymore, I'm gonna go back in, I'm gonna hide again. Well, I'm just letting you know that there is no more hiding. It's not a safe place to go do that. The more that you retreat at this point, the more that you stop letting your etheric body expand, the more that you retreat and hide and just stay in a flow just so you can stay with the other fishes because you think they look cool and you think that they don't have any problems and you think that they're happy and you whatever it is. If you're letting them run your life, then the more you're going to shrink in yourself. And you still have to expand. You still have to expand. So it's like if you shrink back in and of yourself, then it's going to form another layer that you just plowed through. Kind of like a thin layer of ice. You're going to have to break it again at some point, which is fine. I'm just letting you know. You can't hold off your abilities. You can't hide your telepathic abilities. Whenever I'm recalling and I'm channeling my own mind and you're looking at my face, my eyes move erratically because I'm utilizing my brain to recall. But that doesn't mean something that I'm on. You see what I'm saying? Like, whatever to anybody who wants to accuse me of doing some type of crazy ass drugs because my eyes are moving when I speak. Like, everybody needs to fucking get used to this is how a full human works. There ain't nothing wrong with you. I'd like to see them harness the amount of information to tell that story about Australia, to get through it all in the ethers, and then to stare at people in their eyes on a video that's just that you're not even talking to anybody, and keep a straight eye and even show your face and tell and be able to simulate and tell everybody and integrate what the hell it really all meant. The brain is a giant processor now. We didn't plug it into 5G. We didn't plug it into a satellite system. We didn't put it on a neural net. We didn't program everybody's brains to only believe and work like a computer. But that is what it is. You don't need to be on Google doing a ton of searches, moving your fingers 100 miles an hour, pulling up different things, reading it all. You can get it from your brain without touching a computer. This is where humanity's going. This is where it always should have been. The technology and everything else is making everybody more stupid because it's doing it for you now. And now in this end of days, if it's not in the computer, it's not real. Well, that's completely insane. If it's not in a computer, it's not real. But we realize that 80% of the stuff that's on the computer that's written in there is just somebody else's opinion. But if it's not in a computer, it's not real. But we know most everything in the computer is not real. Sounds like Israel to me. You're welcome. About the eyes, man. There's so much about being a high energetic being, and most of it is just warning labels to everybody else. Most of it is just warning labels to everybody else. Funny thing is, they won't come talk to us. They just like to make their own perceptions with whatever view they see and then make up their own story. Nobody wants to come and have a conversation because then when they do, they leave with understanding and they'd rather just make you the problem. So they just ignore it. high vibe beings like me trigger the shit out of people. It's a process I've just had to get used to. I can promise you that in 2018, 2019, I was not this thick-skinned with it. It's just had to play out, and I've just had to work through it and get to the point where I don't care anymore. But it is a process. And it's a process about it's where everyone else is in their process. I'm going to give you this keeps coming up in my mind, and so I'm going to give you this example. I know at some point Cohue 32 and the menus that we've devised are going to be utilized in small businesses to help run teams, sales teams, graphic teams, creative teams, whatever. Industry teams, even music teams, football teams. I mean, any type of team. Everybody needs to do a Cohue 32 social and as a team and see what everybody's abilities are. I know at some point I'll be going into and talking with CEOs and running this in their 20-person office and then giving them a little download about how to utilize the information. When this was all coming in a couple of years ago and we were seeing this all play out, I wrote a list, and it was a list to be given to a CEO telling him how things would work or her when we got to the office. Because we're a bunch of high vibrational beings. We're going to come into your office and we're going to do this whole session. And when we first get there, you're going to feel a lift in the energy. Days before, somebody might get sick in the office. Days after, you might have some people that are homesick. They might get mucus. They might have stomach stuff. They're clearing. They're having to clear for our approach. They're having to clear to even meet us. It's normal. Once we do the whole event and we're all in there and everything's done and we come back in 2 weeks for us to have a meeting and kind of bebop around and talk to the people and have some one-on-one sessions, see how things are going as a team. Are y'all working together? What are you seeing? What are you dreaming about? Are you creating together more consciously 24/7? Are things running smoother? What's happening in your private life now? I'm getting chills all over me. Whenever my team comes back after 2 weeks, Mr. CEO, if you're at your desk and you see me walking around your office and for a split second you see some type of demon, I'm letting you know that's not me. You're seeing a perception from your bubble, not mine. So don't get freaked out if you see some energetic things around whenever we come back in, because we're clearing through it. So basically it's like it's the teacher is gonna kind of layer this on with everybody, that the 25 people in the office just cleared. You used my modality. I'm in there cleaning it for you. It's what you paid me to do. So if you catch a glance off one of my girls and it looks kind of fucking freaky out the corner of your eye, we're just warning you and we're letting you know, don't freak out and kick us out, because if you do, you just created a shit ton of chaos in your office. And whatever demon you saw walking around there is now what's going to be running your office. It's better than the one that you had before we came in here. I can promise you that. There is warning labels. There is warning labels. Right, just Fritz. Same here. I mean, my state of Texas has my son right now because they claim that's what I was doing, even though it's the most insane crap in the world. What I'm just letting all of you know, and what I'm letting the world know right now, is that y'all were fine with this when we were on your medications. Actually, when all of us were taking drugs, you liked us and we were prominent and we were making a shit ton of money in your environment. And all of y'all were tuned to a straight road to hell. We jump out of it and we purify ourselves, get our brain activity back, freaking start working away, start building back our channels, and now you think we're on drugs? I mean, that's all I got to say. I think the whole thing's just insane. But we are in evolution and we're pulling the stupidest race, because it is. We were in a timeline of the most stupid human shit you have ever seen in your life. It is all a replication from a replication, a copy of 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 a copy. And nobody knew in the sixth dimension why the hell anybody was doing anything. And nobody has control over it. That's why we were here to change it. You have a true seventh dimension now. It's a different type of order. Yesterday, we commanded every single frequency that's set to come into the orb. And if it is set to manipulate a human in any way, the opposite's going to happen when it hits the human. I don't know if that's good or bad. We're going to see. The opposite's going to happen when it hits the human. Now, I titled this video because I'm about to end it on the city of the 6th of October. And if you don't know what this is, go to Google Earth and please look it up. It is called the city of the 6th of October. And it is your first nuclear power plant. It's in right above, it's in Egypt. It's right above where it's going to be to the left of the Nile. Alexandria and all that's to the right if I'm looking at the map. It's going to be kind of quiet. It's kind of in the middle of the desert. And if you go look at that little town and then look at the circles that they've got and all over the desert and their little farm thing and yada, 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 yada. Because, I mean, they had the whole planet. They were bloodletting the planet. You can see all the blood up there. They're running boats and stuff through it. I can even show you where the blue blood is on the planet. And then when it hits red, all the boats running around. Like, it's completely insane because it's blood. It's your blood. Every single template modification is set up from there to run from the subs, not from the ether, from the sub. So today at 11:26, which is 28, which is 01, I command the city of 6th of October to shut the fuck down. I command power out. Power out. Turn it all off. I command the humans to turn it off. If you won't turn it off, we'll turn it off for you. We'll turn it off for you on the sub level, on the ether level, wherever needs to be shut down at this particular point in time. But the 6th of October in Egypt, in the desert, is no longer going to run off a template setting for everyone just to walk around in a merry-go-round in order to come to Disneyland to Earth. This wasn't your fucking Disneyland to come back from the dead and come in here and do some crazy shit. It's not a game. Get the fuck out and turn it off. Or become real. And you can thank us for that too. For everybody who came against us in this template bullshit, like, whatever. We were your last hope. You're mad at us because you can't take over our life. But you took over everybody's lives. You took over the lives of our entire 300 years of descendants in order to make your stupid little fucking game. Okay, well now your children have no life. You have no life. Fix it. I demand and command they fix it. I don't want to hear any more about it. I don't care where they lock them up. I don't give a shit what they did. They need to fix it. And we need to start hearing how they're going to do it. And we command it so. And right in this energy, we're also going to command that the Appalachians and the Carolinas and this government that's running off temple settings set from Saudi Arabia, the United States government's completely cut from any foreign agents and foreign template settings, and the president of the United States or any past presidents are no longer the pinnacle point and the brains on Brad. We are. And we command you take care of our people. And if you don't, then you're going to lose your health. Because we're the only reason this is all happening. We're the only reason Appalachian flooded. And you're the reason that it happened to the government and to NATO. And you can now report to mother, not father, mother. $11/29/11/11. Whew, I'm boiling pissed right now. And tomorrow's my government assigned birthday. See y'all soon.